fortress for the Vodacom Bulls and Vodacom Blue Bulls again. But it's important to ask you to be patient. This is only a step unfolding in our turnaround strategy that we've announced 2 weeks ago. I believe John is not the Messiah or a prophet that will turn the Vodacom Bulls in a winning side from day one. Please be patient with him too. We continued listening to some of our stakeholders, trying to identify the suitable candidates, went through a process, and then appointed John, made him an offer, and he accepted our offer. He'll join us for a day or two, and then he'll move back to the United States, where he's coaching the US Eagles against the Irish in a series of 3 tests, and then on the 16th of July, after his daughter got married in New Zealand, he'll join us permanently. And he'll say something more about that. I believe it's a coup for us to have him join us, and that he'll add a lot of value on and off the field for the Bulls. As you've seen, he's 53 years old, a young 53. He just said his current weight is 103 kg. If he wasn't a beer drinker, he would have been 95 to 97. And I mean, there's a lot of stories about John Mitchell. My biggest fear was when he talked about the weight, that he's going to say to me, I must lose 37, you know, in the next 3 months or before he is back, you know. He coached the All Blacks, played for the All Blacks, winning coach in 2002 and 3 in the Tri-Nations, led us Cup, and a 3rd place in the 2003 World Cup. Yeah, and with that, we'll give him an opportunity to say something, but then you've seen Nollis here next to John. I must emphasize that Nollis will be the Currie Cup coach for the next number of years. That in our discussions with John, he'll utilize him in Super Rugby, and as Executive Rugby, he and Nollis will structure the future of the Vodacom Bulls and the Vodacom Blue Bulls. But I must emphasize that and say to Nollis, you've been under a lot of pressure in the past few weeks. Your ability and your capacity to accept the change and to support the board and us in the change, and your declaration of support for John speaks a lot of your personality and character. We've invested in the last 6 years a lot of time and money in you as a coach. You are a great coach, and I believe you will be a champion coach in the years to come. Thank you for attending tonight. And I would also like to express our gratitude to Vodacom, Afkari, Puma, Isuzu, and some of our junior associates. In the past number of weeks, when the Bulls were under immense pressure, thank you for attending, thank you for your support. And then I would also like to address the plus minus 2.4 million supporters of the Bulls in South Africa. That was when we researched it in November last year. It will be interesting to see what the state is today. But some of you haven't had a lot of patience with us. But to the loyal supporters, I believe the Bulls will again make you happy. And with that, I would like to ask John to say a few words, and then if there are questions, we would like to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Baron. It's I feel truly privileged to join this wonderful union, rich in history, very proud province as well. I think a big part that appealed to me was the integrity that the people have shown, and also the integrity that existed in the process. I found it was very clear to me what was required, what was wanted. It was very honest, and it was very decisive. I'm really excited to work with a really talented group of players and competent staff, and I feel that I can add to that competency. And I think the one thing that I'd love you to hear is it's absolutely clear to me what has to be done, and we will make our team confident again. And the vision, I guess, the purpose of is that I want to see Loftus filled to the rafters again, and I want to make people happy, because to me, what is success? As coaches, we're conditioned to wins and losses, but the one thing that I think success is all about is actually making a lot of people happy. Thank you.
Questions towards John Mitchell?
John, you've given up the probability of coaching a team at the next World Cup for this post, so can you maybe just elaborate on what made that move justified for you?
Yeah, there's two milestones when you're coaching an international team in Tier 2. First, you've got to get to the World Cup, which is the aim and the milestone that we're about to embark on with USA Eagles. And then the second stage is the 2 years preceding, leading into a World Cup. So they're two quite different challenges, and for me, I guess the point of difference is that I've been involved in for the last year and a half, a 15 or 14 to 15 week intermittent program. But I don't think there's any better lifestyle as a coach to be in a program every day, being able to enhance athletes and move a team forward. And I guess that's the biggest thing that I've missed, being in an intermittent program.
John, besides what you said before about obviously the process and the honesty of it and so on, did you ever see yourself at Loftus? I mean, you've been down the road at Ellis Park, but did you ever see your future being part of the Bulls?
I think it's amazing when you look on life. Things happen for reasons, and it's like I've been in the country now for 7 years. I call it home. I love the place, and I guess I've been away from this level and in South African rugby for a period of time now. I guess when you get parked up as a coach, which we do, it's important to go away and learn. And I'm just looking at having been here as a coach with numerous teams, having good days and tough days, and where I come from in New Zealand, there's a lot of similarities that I like, and the Bulls, when they're at their best, they're extremely aggressive, and when they play at tempo, they've also put sides away in their past. So we're not far away from that ingredient. But what we've got to do is, and what I commend the people around me and the board for, is that at the end of the day, people are open to intervention, and they're open to changing their mindset. And to me, that is extremely positive, because I feel that I can bring a positive element of change. But one has to be careful as well, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I've got a lot to learn. For me to sit in this chair right here at the minute and judge people based on performance and incompetency would be totally unfair. And I have to do a lot of listening, and a lot of watching when I get involved, and clearly working with Nolis, we'll obviously be able to have a lot of chats and look to move the program forward.
How hands-on are you going to be with the Super Rugby side and obviously within the structure as a whole, from juniors all the way to...
Yes, I'm very fortunate to be involved in the entire high performance structure. So basically working with Zander throughout all the teams. We obviously look to create a model that's replicated and constant in all our teams, and clearly work as early as this Curry Cup with Nolis, looking to embed what we think is going to move us forward and give us a foundation definitely to enhance on going into our Super Rugby pre-season.
John, your previous tenure with the South African team didn't end that well, but it seems to be bearing fruit now. What are the lessons you take from, I mean, you've obviously learned a lot in between, but the lessons from the last time you were involved with the South African team?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think wherever I've walked and coached, I've left a sustainable model, and I think that's a really important feature, because certainly not interested in building sandcastles. So you can see the result of presenting a model. I think my methodology is very, very different to my previous opportunity with the Lions. I think the methodology that I have researched in the last 2 years and had the opportunity to implement recently in America, I think is at cutting edge, and it's a very peaceful way to coach, and it's also very much allows players to take ownership for each day. It brings clarity and it brings confidence as well. So I back that, and I look forward to offering that when I get started on July the 16th. So yeah, I guess that's the thing that gives me the greatest confidence, is that my methodology is cutting edge, and it's quite unique, but also something that's refreshing, and certainly allowed me to revive my coaching career.
Alright, does Nolis then coach until the end of the Super Rugby season?
Yes, Nolis is going to coach until the end of the rugby season, but John will join, and then Nolis will be the coach of the Curry Cup team too.
What happens then with in terms of management of Super Rugby going forward?
Well, there will be changes. With the coaching team, within the coaching team, we haven't finalized anything. We wanted to first consult and get the recommendation from the executive rugby that has been appointed. And that's part of the unfolding turnaround strategy. We will inform our supporters through you as the media as soon as possible when we are ready to give that information.
Torrent, John mentioned that he'd be working with Zander. Is Executive of Rugby, though, basically Director of Rugby? I mean, would John then take over being in charge of scouting and recruiting and those sort of functions?
He's the Executive of Rugby, not the Director of Rugby, but if you would like to assume that it's nearly the same, I can agree with you. He'll oversee the rugby program on the field. Zander is the high performance manager. He's in his support, and he's managing the process and systems off the field in consultation with John and myself. John will also be a member of our board, and I don't think he knows that yet, but as a member of the board, he'll also have the judicial responsibilities without having a vote like me. Yeah, perhaps then just at this stage I need to thank Zander and the board, and Mr. Wessels, President of the Union, and Mr. John Newbury, and the rest of the appointment committee, and Mr. Eugene Hare, the CEO of the Blue Bulls Rugby Union, for their effort in the past few weeks since we started the process of appointing executive rugby.
Warrant, I can just imagine a few supporters will want to know how can the Bulls afford a high-profile coach like John?
Well, may I first respond to you talking English? It's the first time. You know, I thought earlier that one of the questions going to be, I said to John, how can he coach in an Afrikaans culture, you know, news? And then I've just realized, and we didn't have the support of our core media that's attending tonight with 9 black players in our team in the last week. The whole culture changed with a number of English speaking. I think the Afrikaans speaking guys are in the minority at this stage. It's a high time that we've got an English speaking coach.
And even the board will have now to start talking.
And they struggle, some of them too, me included. What was your question?
How do you afford a
How do you
high-profile
afford
coach?
a high-profile coach like that?
He's paying us for the
Yeah, look, as you know, we are a business. We are under immense pressure, like all 14 South African provinces and the 6 franchises and SA Rugby. I mean, if you look at the previous annual report of World Rugby, rugby is flourishing all over the world since sevens are part of the Olympics. In Australia and South Africa we are struggling, and to some extent in New Zealand too. And but we've got a sound business, and we've planned we'll be able to pay his salary until the end of this year. As from the 1st of January, he'll be part of us responsible sorting out the finances.
sorting out his own salary.
John, obviously it's a proud union, proud franchise, former Super Rugby champions. The pressure has been enormous on Nollers, obviously, to bring about the right results. Do you have a grasp of the enormity of the job itself and the expectation from the fans?
I think it's important to respect that, but I think life for me is about what you can control, and what I can control is the controllables, and the controllables is our processes. So I think it's exciting times for us. We can do things slightly different. This is not a big change. Yeah, this is about refreshing and updating our way. And you know, as you understand, the board and the panel and everyone involved has seen that there has to be significant intervention to basically get back to where we used to be and get on top of the mantle again. So, but it's going to be a lot of hard work. There's no doubt about that. But it's going to be fun as well. There's a particular way to do it, and nothing's ever improbable. And it's just a change of mindset, and we just got to sharpen up and become confident. I mean, rugby's about confidence. If you look at the lads at the moment, they just lack a little bit of confidence. Yeah, and there's huge talent there, and there's always been huge talent in this union, and that will continue to remain. And we'll look to become more accurate in the way that we select that talent as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
People are going to ask you how long before they see the fruits of your labour come to the fore.
Yeah, I mean,
Trophy-wise.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we've got to present ourselves that opportunity. As you can see at the moment, we're way off that. But yeah, we've got a curry cup to embed. You know, we've got to get our meters up, and we've got to go into a pre-season where we can build on top of that. So yeah, I'd like to think that within 2 competitions we'll start to show significant change in our mentality and approach.
Nollers. Sorry, John, finish.
Can I just add one thing? And one thing I forgot to mention too is I need to thank USA Rugby for being so amicable and in this process, because they facilitated the exit with the Bulls in a very easy manner.
Nollis, I'm sure it's bittersweet for you because results obviously didn't go the way you would have liked. But how chuffed are you to be working alongside someone like John?
No, obviously, results on the day. Let me just start off that when, welcoming John. We've spoken a few times over the phone. I went down in 2016 and I met John in Durban. We spoke about rugby and how that needs to evolve. And I've got the same similar way of thinking. I think with him, the transition will be easier. Just to clarify that, as I said previously, that I know I'm the right coach for it, but we need a bit of assistance in getting it there. So it's a huge privilege for us to get out here as well. So it's a big honour for us.
Now let's, obviously you'd want to finish off the season on a high.
Feel winner. Yeah, I definitely want to finish on a high. The guys are looking forward as well. I think it'll give us a new breath of life as well. And the players are looking forward to it.
Amgat, for you, I mean the Bulls have now gone through almost a similar process now twice. The time with Pine being out and then now obviously with Nollis. What have you guys learned not to do again, not to repeat in the future? Because obviously the stands have been quite empty in the last few years.
Yeah, I think the board had to take some of the responsibility for the downturn in what happened, and perhaps what we've learned from that is to get quicker to the ball and take the right decisions with ball in hand. So I think in the past, I think we kept on too long with doing the same thing over and over. And I think it went well with Nollis in the first year. And I don't think the script played out as it should have from the beginning. I think otherwise perhaps we would have been in a different position now. But the board had to take the responsibility, and we believe in Nollis. That is why we've appointed him. And the responsibility for us is to give him the necessary support, and him giving the necessary support, and the whole board giving the necessary support to the coaching team and to John.
The Bulls have made 2 Super Rugby coaching changes in 2 years. Does that point to maybe the structure needs to be changed as well, that there are problems elsewhere?
As I've said, I think the problem was that that perhaps where the problem started, that with the previous regime we took too long to do a change, and I think what happened there is perhaps that we took too long to bleed youngsters along the seniors at that stage, and I think Nollis in the end inherited a young team without the necessary seniors to bleed them through this whole thing. So I think at this point in time, I think the board took the bull by the horns and to take decisions to make it quicker in doing a change and to give the necessary support.
John, we're going to see Umkhat talks about senior players. That's the one probably area where the Bulls have been lacking in the last 2 seasons in terms of guys with a lot of caps at Super Rugby level and international level. Are we going to see you going into market and try to get those players to come to Loftus, or will you keep with this young group of players now and try and obviously build on that?
It'll be a collective decision in the direction that we take. Clearly, I think the best transition for a player is to come through his own development program. But clearly, we also need to identify positions where we need some world-class ability to allow some of the development to arrive at a certain time. So everything's all about timing. Hence the reason why we want to replicate and be constant in terms of our processes in all our teams. We'll look at everything, but clearly also we've got to work within the parameters of our budgets as well. So it's just a collective decision. It's probably a little bit too early to answer that question, but clearly we'll look to selections are a critical part of the process. I enjoy selection, always have. Been fortunate enough to select some wonderful talent as well in my career, and I think I can add to the program hugely in being accurate in that area as well, because it's 80% of the game, I think, selection, and it still is in my view. The rest of it's actually how you train. So selections are going to be a huge part, but hey, we all play a role in that, and it's too early for me to even make comments in that area because I've got to get my head around the talent as well. Xander's and Ollis have kindly going to share that with me over the next couple of days.
John, there's been a lot of talk in South African rugby circles lately about the fitness of players. Is it too early as well for you to comment on how you see the fitness of the Bulls players?
What I will say is that everything we do will be geared to how we want to play. So I think everything will be very, very integrated. I think the days are gone where fitness is in isolation to skills. That probably gives you some idea of where we'll probably head towards, and it already exists here. It's just a matter of tweaking it as well. But we no longer live in a competition where the game is slow. The ability to be able to speed up the game, the ability to tolerate the game in its most demanding period is critical, and to be able to ramp it up even then at some point in the performance is important as well. So if you go back to last weekend, that game was ramped up just after the first 20 minutes, and that ultimately was the difference between the two teams. One team could tolerate it and ramp it up, and the other team at the moment is not quite there in terms of being able to tolerate the most demanding period of the game.
Thank you very much. If there's nothing further for the panel, we've prepared some snacks and drinks.